it's Therese and welcome to Lighting the Way. I'm delighted to be here to offer you help in finding your total alignment, your happiness, your joy, and to follow your purpose. I feel it's important for me to explain a little bit about my background and how I came to be in this position to be able to confidently work with you to help you to be the best that you can be, and to find that store that's within you and align to it. So from a very early age, I realized I was quite sensitive. I was born into a family of 12 children. Yes, 12. 6 boys and 6 girls. So I have an older brother and sister, and then I have 9 siblings younger than me. All alive and healthy, thank God. And my parents are both alive and healthy. And I still have a 97-year-old grandmother, alive and healthy also. So longevity is great. So when I was 7, I realized that I was quite stubborn is what I thought at the time, but now I see it as resilient. I got scarlet fever and I got a relapse of scarlet fever. So I was quite sick and some of my siblings were also sick. So my parents were probably distraught trying to look after us because at the time there wasn't a lot of intervention really for people that had a fever like that. And by the time I got to the doctor, I was feeling much better. But then I got a relapse and my mother contacted the doctor because we didn't have a car and the doctor was a long ways away. And she had cycled with me to the doctor the first time and me on the back of the bike, about 14 miles, which is quite a journey each way. And the doctor said, to keep bringing down my temperature. And at the time it was Asperos. So anybody that's Irish and about my age or that would understand that Aspero was what the new Panadol is really. So hot lemonade and Asperos. My poor mother was trekking up and down the stairs to me. And eventually I became well enough to go back to school. But it was coming close to the summer holidays. And when I went to school, my teacher said that I wasn't allowed to move into the next classroom. So it was just a 2-teacher classroom. And the first 3 years were held in one classroom and the next 4 classes were together. So you can see it was a very small school with 2 teachers. And my friends, of course, were going into the next classroom. So I insisted that I was going in and he insisted that I couldn't because I was behind. And he spoke with my mother and she had a chat with me and I said, I'm going in, I know I can do this. I know I can catch up during the holidays. And she said, sort it out with the teacher. So I went to school and I insisted that I would go in. So reluctantly, he allowed me eventually to go in because he pushed me outside the door and closed it and I opened it and walked back in. And when I went into the classroom, he slapped me for months because I was behind and he'd ask me all the harder questions and when I'd get the wrong answer, I'd get a slap. But I didn't cry. I just decided that it was worth it to be able to continue on and to stay with my friends, and my happiness was way more important to me than him slapping me. So that was at the age of 7. So life moved on and I realized I was very sensitive. I could hear spirits in houses and I was able to understand if somebody was sick. I mightn't exactly know what was wrong with them, but I would kind of see darkness around them and I started to say things to my mother like, what's wrong with that man? He's got a big black patch on his tummy. And she'd say, oh, he's been quite sick. And I kind of forgot about it. I left school then at 17. There was a recession in Ireland, so I needed to make money and bring some home for my younger children, my mother's younger children, my younger siblings, and they were really like our children because we all helped raise one another. So I got a job in Dublin and I absolutely hated it. I hated the city, but I really had to change how I looked at all of that and, made the negatives into a positive. Now, I didn't put up with nonsense to do that either, but I realized that I had to look for the good in it and I knew it wouldn't be forever. But I started to like the city. I missed all the country, but then I started to go to the Phoenix Park and find my way and go home at weekends, and it was really nice, and I was able to have money and I was able to bring home money or send home money. I think how times have changed. And then I met somebody and I got married and I had 4 children, fast tracking here now, of course. And when my children were only 2, 4, 7 and 9, my marriage actually broke down. And that was a really, really, really challenging, painful, tough period of my life. And I've probably spent about 9 or 10 months in our marital home, and my husband had moved out, and eventually I moved to Cork to a house that we were building, and it was up to roof, windows and doors, and we slept on the floor and everything for a period of time. But you know, we built our resilience and we built our strength and we built our happiness back up. And then we were there about 4 years when one of my daughter's spine collapsed. She was 12 and she was going through puberty, and she had a double scoliosis that none of us knew anything about until the hormones drove it crazy. So the 5 lumbar completely collapsed and she had to have immediate intervention. So she had the 5 lumbar fused and rods put all the way up to her neck. And I was after retraining myself and finding myself a job where I was working Monday to Friday. I was actually teaching computer applications, and all of that had to go and be left behind because she needed to be homeschooled for a period of time. So the Department of Education did offer a teacher for a few hours a week, and it was really, really nice. It was really good. I got time to look after her. But I also knew that I had to do something about caring for her on a physical level as well. So I enrolled in a college of further education to learn how to massage, really. So massage, reflexology, Indian head, aromatherapy. Like, it was a 2-year course. So she was back at school then part-time, and I used to do my course in the morning, and I'd be home to collect her and make the dinner and do whatever had to be done and study. I used to get up in the morning about 5, and I used to do my study there. But I realised when I was learning how to massage that I could see shadows inside in bodies. Now, they were in different areas around different organs, and I didn't really know what to do with them because they were coming out in my hands. But my trainer didn't know either. So somebody overheard me talking about it one day, and they introduced me to IET. And of course I embraced it, and it was like it was made for me. So I know myself it's an ancient modality, and that's my own knowing of it, because it was exactly what I was seeing. It was these shadows around different organs where we suppress different energy imprints, and I was naturally able to pull them out. So I took to it like a duck to water, and I was already after finding myself another job at this stage. So I went off and I did more training, and I trained in life coaching. So I did a diploma in life, business and executive coaching. I did practitioner certification, NLP, and I just continued on to do lots of little courses. And I also did a diploma in training and education with an open university in Galway, and that was all really good. So I decided I would have to use all of this somehow, and I decided to leave paid employment and set up a company and register it and become self-employed. And then I would have flexibility around my hours and all of that. So I had 3 names, and I was thinking, how am I going to decide the name of the company? So I put the 3 names under my pillow because I couldn't make a decision. So I went to sleep, and when I woke up, it was none of the 3 that I'd put under my pillow. It was lighting the way. So I was, what's lighting the way about? You know, and I was asking my inner self, and I was asking my guides and my angels, my highest power, and they said, you're to shine your light on the path of others, and then they'll find their own way, they'll find their own path. And I said, how am I going to do that? And they said, just turn towards the light. And it was like a nudge like this. And I was, okay. So it's really about alignment. It's really about aligning to your soulful self, to that love, to that essence, to your spiritual self. Because, you know, we are having the human experience, but we're eternal, infinite, magnificent, human, spiritual beings, you know, and we're just housed in this body for now. So I set up my company, and that's where Lighting the Way came from. And I knew I had to do more and more and more to develop myself. So I did. I went to San Francisco to Tony Robbins once my children started to become more independent and I had more time and a bit more money for myself. I started to work more, of course. I went to San Francisco and did Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins. So that really helped me to get a comprehension of why we do what we do, really. And there was a fire walk, of course, involved in that. Then I went to the Himalayas to do a trek, and that was beautiful because I got to go to the Dalai Lama Palace and to chant with the monks in the palace, and that was really nice. It was a huge experience. Some of it was heartbreaking, the poverty and the segregation, really, that's very evident. But overall, I will have to say that it gave me a gratitude, a deep, deep gratitude for having the life that I have and for living in the country that I live in, and a gratitude and a compassion for everybody. And then, of course, I travelled to follow Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, around the world. So I think I saw him maybe in London first. I'm not sure if it was London or New York, because I went to some Hay House events where they'd have many speakers, and I just felt they were great because you got a little bit maybe from Louise Hay, bless her, she's passed now as well, Cheryl Richardson, Brian Weiss, Past Life Regression, I loved his stuff. John Holland was Spiritual Medium, Doreen Virtue, you name them, Christine Northrup. So there were many, many speakers that I really took a lot of notes at the workshops, and started working on myself with them. And I've integrated all of that learning now. And I got to go on a spiritual tour around Europe with Dr. Wayne Dyer, where there were 4 hours of lecture every day. Got to go to Mother Mary's house on Rumi's birthday, and Wayne Dyer got to exclusively have the area for our tour for 2 hours, and that was just so amazing. And then I went to Maui in Hawaii, and the light that's in my picture on Lighting the Way on the page is that light of a photograph that I took in Hawaii. I had done meditation on the beach with Saint Germain, and I was taken straight out of my body. And when I came to, and I was after taking everybody's purses and wallets and everything to mind them, because I had decided that I was sick of doing the touristy stuff, and I just wanted to relax, and that's what I saw, and that was the light, and it was really violet at my feet. So the violet light is the light of transmutation, and that's what IET uses. Angel Zadkiel, I have a lovely meditation on YouTube with him. He appeared to me as well. He's violet light. So it really is all about releasing, just releasing what's holding you back. So whether it's emotional turmoil, mental turmoil, whatever your anguish is, really healing in that area, whether you want to have actually energetic healing, or whether you want healing through coaching or mentoring or empowerment programs, doesn't really matter, because I'm still lighting the way for myself and for you. So I'd like you to have a good browse through the website and see what sits with you. And thank you for allowing me to help in any way that I can. God bless you.